you see any way possible AEW with the TNT promotional machine behind them can beat Raw this fall? Because we're going to get into ratings here in a second. Raw doing their record low ratings. They were up against a big basketball game this past Monday, but the NFL season, they drop every year, usually 10 to 15%. We're probably going to see that drop again. You see any way possible that AEW can garner more viewers than Raw?
I'm just gonna lay something out there for you, Raj. If they get TV and everything, they're gonna and everything's going, and they got the talent that they have. I think they see what their ratings are, and I think they're gonna wait, and I think they're gonna see with the talent that they have, and I think they're gonna kind of get a feel for where they're at and everything. But what would you watch if, just say they were going head to head too? And I know they're not going to, but if you turn on AEW and you got Monday Night Raw on, it's the same thing you've always seen, and you see CM Punk come out on AEW, this fall. What are you going to watch?
Right. No.
What would you do, Raj, if CM Punk came out, then RYBACK came out?
Right.
Like that's what that's just a hypothetical thing, saying I'm going to go watch this other product with these WWE guys that I loved showing up on this other program. And that's not, you got Moxley and Omega and Cody and all these other big guns, Jericho. There's an AEW can do that surprise element with guys that I just think they have some momentum, and they could, I think they can.
Yeah, and I think you got 2 hours. It can feel hot the whole time, whereas Raw, with the 3 hours, it just feels drained by the end. And let's get into that. Raw this past Monday night drew their lowest audience ever in history. That's a non-holiday audience. Just it beat Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve, but those were really low. But it did 2.125 million viewers, down from last week's 2.405. As I mentioned, they were up against a big NBA game, which did a monster number. But they've been against big football games, NBA games in the past. Lowest Raw viewership in history. I'm sure it'll be up a little bit next week. The final hour dropped under 2 million viewers. Your thoughts on the dropping ratings?
It's not good. It's if you put out a compelling product, people are going to watch. People are going and watching those games. And they've had competition every year back when their ratings used to be great, and people were still tuning in. Their numbers may have been down a little bit, when there's a direct competition with a big game in the past, but never to this degree. And I think, and I've heard other people talk about this, this is what WWE used to always cater to the casual audience, and the hardcore audience was always there. But you got to put out a great product for everybody at the end of the day still. But they internally started not doing any of that. They gave up like that, catering to the casual audience, and they're not catering to the hardcore audience. So it's like it's just pretty much the diehards that are tuning in every week, and they seem to be losing them at a faster and faster rate. Man, it's not good. Like and again, there's a lot more. They're very active on social media. People are still engaging with the product and watching on YouTube and whatnot. And you can and I always try to look at this from both sides. People have a lot more choices as what they could view these days, as far as online, but that's part of evolving as a company and a product. Is you got to give them what they want. If I'm putting out a podcast and nobody's listening to it, I got to look at myself and say, okay, I like what I'm doing, but nobody else does. I got to adjust. I got to change. I have to give the people what the people want. And as a business owner, if I come out with a protein powder and I like the way that it tastes, but nobody else does, I'm not going to be in business very long.
Right.
So you have to adjust, and I feel like WWE always used to be able to do that, but it seems like they got too big for their own good and they just quit caring, and they haven't tried to adjust. And years of not making guys superstars that the fans wanted to be superstars has finally caught up to them, I feel like, along with their creative process and everything else. And I think those numbers in live attendance, is an all-time low with these guys in a lot of these places. People aren't buying into it. And I think they got it. They're going to have to reshuffle a lot of things. And with AEW coming, and like I said, AEW just has nothing but momentum right now. And everyone's foaming at the mouth for change in wrestling. In WWE, is it going to be too late? They got all the other things in place. They can. But is Vince holding on and not letting, I still think Shane should be heavily involved with the company in some way. Something just doesn't ever feel right with Shane not being involved for me with that. That just screams that something is just so off when your son, you know what I mean? I don't know what it is, but they got to do something, man, because it's the momentum. It feels like they're losing momentum by the week.
Yeah, and kind of speaking of which, we mentioned Raw had some stiff competition. SmackDown didn't really have any, and it drew 1.93 million viewers, one of the lowest numbers it's ever done. And really, it's probably realistically, it's the worst number that they've done without any real competition. Because when they've done under 2 million viewers in the past, it's either usually a holiday or there's something big like the State of the Union, the Trump-Hillary debate, or the election night. This is a really bad number, down 4.2% from last week. Kind of back to the same point. There's no real excuse for why this one should be so low.
No, and it's I want wrestling to be great. I have all the guys I know there and girls, and it's not the talent, man. The talent's amazing, and it's I actually heard Velveteen Dream made a remark about it. It's on the talent, and I get what he's doing. And he desperately wants to get called up to the main roster, and he wants to get out of developmental. And oftentimes guys will try to kiss Vince's ass to do that. It's the way that it is. Guys do media. You compliment Vince is a genius. He's a wizard. You say these things because you want to get called up and you want to make money because you want to get out of developmental. That's the truth of the situation. Or he's naive. He doesn't understand yet how it works. It's not the talent. The talent has always been there. And it's, if Velveteen shows up to the building on Monday Night Raw and you go, Velveteen, you're going to go out on Superstars. We're not giving you an entrance and you're not going to do any of your shit. You're going to go put this guy over. And you're not doing anything cool. We don't want you showing off. If you do, you're going to be pulled. You're going to be sitting in catering for the next year. Then we're going to fire you. You're not going to get over. So he's going to, and that will be a rude awakening if that whole creative process, if he doesn't already know it. He's a smart guy. I feel like he does know it. He's just trying to get called up, which I commend. You got to do whatever you got to do to get called up. But the talent's there. And it needs to, they need to put together some compelling TV. And this is what I said, Raj. The bell-to-bell is very important in wrestling. It always has been. But it's also, characters are very important. And casual people watch pro wrestling for larger-than-life superstars and for drama and entertainment to forget about their day. You can only watch so much fake fighting in the ring where casual people tune away from it because they go, oh, this is stupid. This is why I always said the wrestling moves and all that, they're important for your hardcore audience and whatnot, but you got to have all the pieces to becoming a superstar. Rock, Stone Cold Hogan, Cena, they had the total package essentially. You know what I mean? And you got to allow the talent's there. You got to allow them to do that. And you got to try to make these stars so that people want to tune in because the ratings. People are tuning into Game of Thrones. People are tuning into these big sports games. Why aren't they tuning into your wrestling product anymore, which they used to tune into? So. Right.
Yeah, definitely the compelling characters, the compelling storylines has been something that's been missing for a while now. I think a lot of people would agree. Yeah. A lot of talent reportedly looking to leave WWE, wanting to see what AEW's offering. Surprisingly, somewhat of a surprise, Mike and Maria Kanellis re-signed with WWE. So they're staying. They agreed to a multi-year deal. It had been reported just a few months ago that they were possibly looking to be released. But here we are a few months later. They've re-signed. WWE. It's apparently re-signing a lot of people to big deals, even if they don't really have plans to use them. Were you surprised by this at all?
No, I mean, I think I saw that they were, you never know what to believe when you see any of this stuff. And I know they've been a little bit outspoken on social media at times on different things. I think they probably got offered financially a good amount of money, and where they were happy with that. And you got to look at it, and they have a family. And once you have a family and you're wrestling, it's money it becomes important. And if, I always think, I tell people, and when I was there, I would go talk to them if I had a problem. I would do character stuff on social media to try to get myself over for whatever role I was playing. But when you're there and under contract and you complain on social media, it is the worst thing you could do, because it just screams. If you have a problem, you need to go talk to them there. Now, if you're on your way out and you don't care, that's a different situation, which maybe they were and they got offered something, and I don't know. I think, though, whatever it was, I'm happy for them that if they got the number that they wanted, and hopefully if they ever have any creative issues, they deal with it there at TV and trying to get that worked out and not on social media. I always use the Yoshitatsu reference when Tenzai came up, and Yoshitatsu, there was Japanese heat or something of when Tatsu was a little bit, I guess, because Tenzai was coming in and getting a big push. And Yoshitatsu went on social media and said something, how he was in whatever, and then the following week Tenzai squashed him on TV, and because it never pays off. They're going to do what they want to do regardless. So if you have an issue, you got to take it up in the back. But I'm happy for them. I think it's great, and we'll see what they do, how they're used moving forward, and whatnot. So.
All right. Well, finally, a couple of injury notes. Rey Mysterio was on our...
Hey, guys, it's the big guy Ryback, and I just want to say thank you very much for watching. Go ahead and punch that like, smash that subscribe button, and check out my all-natural supplement line. Supplement. Stupid. My all-natural supplement line. Feed Me More Nutrition, available on Amazon and feedmemore.com. And as always, Conversation with the Big Guy Ryback, available on all podcast platforms, iTunes, Google Play, SoundCloud, and wherever podcasts are available. Never forget, feed me more.
Watch full episodes here on YouTube. Subscribe if you're new. Smash that like button if you had a great time watching. And for all supplements, check out feedmemore.com.